Hi everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author and welcome back to my channel. I write young adult fiction across a variety of genres and if you think that might interest you, then think about subscribing below. I've worked with sensitivity readers a few times now and plan to do some more with them this year as I get ready to send the third Invisible book to them for their feedback. I thought that it would be a good idea to talk about what it's like to work with them and any tips I might have that makes the process easier. I will just add that I have so far only worked with sensitivity readers mostly for disabilities extensively, so that will colour my experience, but all kinds of sensitivity readers are great tools. So number one, set your expectations. It's one thing to know what you hope to get out of this, but you need to actually know what you can get out of it. Like, for example, you can't ask one person to read for conditions they don't personally experience, or any situation that they wouldn't know anything about. So go into it knowing what you actually want by the end, and while I'll talk about this more in a moment, communicate that with them. When I first sent Invisible out to sensitivity readers, I knew the conditions I wanted advice on. One of the readers I chose was chosen because they had a mix of a lot of the conditions, which meant they could read for more than one thing. Sensitivity reading can take time, it can be very involved, and you will also need time to weave in their suggestions once they're done. So don't go into it thinking that it will come back with a tweak here and a tweak there, even though you'll have done some serious research, or at least I hope you will. There are a lot of things that can only be found from having lived experience with something. So set yourself and your readers up for success and make sure that you know what you want at the end of it all. Number two, more than one if possible. I know that sensitivity readers aren't cheap, which I'll talk about more in a moment, but if you can hire more than one, especially for the same reasons, then that's a very good idea. I'm going to stick with disability here because that's where I have the most experience, but no condition is exactly the same for everyone. Disabled people, as with every minority, are not a monolith, and what might work for one might very much not work for another. Having that experience, that lived experience, allows you to bring more realness to your characters and your story. Of course, their feedback isn't written in stone, but I found with Invisible and again with Translucent that it allowed me to lean into things at some point and also find small little body language tweaks that would strengthen the story because I'd worked with more than one sensitivity reader. It can be a very good way to find out what works and how to make things better, and like with beaters, you want to have more than one pair of eyes on the page. Number three. Communicate with deadlines and what you want. It's no good working with someone if you don't know what deadline they have or what you want them to do. If you know that you want to be able to start making changes in a month, then communicate that with them. The last thing either one of you want is for things to go wrong, and just like working with an editor or the like, they need to have some idea of the time frame. And also make sure that you're clear with them about what you want from them. If it's conditions, list them out so they know rather than expecting them to just know from reading. If it's certain scenes, let them know about those too. Sometimes you don't need to send the whole book, sometimes it's easier to just send key scenes where a certain character appears. Whatever works, but just make sure that there is a clear line of communication both ways. Number four, give them adequate time to read. Now, if you're looking for someone to read disability, then you have to realise that they may also take more time because of said disabilities and or chronic conditions. And also you want them to be able to really settle in and read so that they can get all the bits and pieces you need to move forward. So make sure they know how long they have and that you give them adequate time to do so. I work with mostly other writers as my sensitivity readers, so it makes sense that they have to put their own work to one side to do this. So don't expect them to do a week turnaround on like 100k and then get upset when the feedback is exceptionally minimal. Sensitivity reading takes time and it's a process that can't be rushed. So make sure that they have the time they need because it will be better for you in the long run. And number five, pay them. I feel like this one shouldn't have to be said, but there we go. Some people think you can do a sensitivity read just because you like the author. I mean, I guess there are some people who feel that way, but you're asking for someone to take on a mammoth task and apply their own research and lived experience, breaking down your work and then giving extensive feedback on it. It's worth payment. Their time has value, no matter who they are. You need to be paying them. How much depends on their rates. I usually pay both of mine based on word count and both are happy to accept it in 2 payments, but some won't be, and that's okay. They may want it all up front and that's also okay. If you know you need to hire one, prepare that in advance and pay them. They need to be monetarily awarded for the time they've spent making your book and life easier. So pay them. So there we go. Basically, those are my thoughts on working with sensitivity readers. Like I said, I've worked with them mostly for Invisible because it has such an array of conditions, but I have hired them on occasion for other books for conditions that I either have experience with but not to that degree, or just wanted to get another set of eyes on the page. Sensitivity reading is a great tool, and like I said, it doesn't have to be just for disability. It can be for LGBTQ, it can be for people of colour and all the rest of it. But whatever you do when you're going into it, make sure that the person you've hired has that lived experience and is able to give feedback based on that. So if you ever hired sensitivity readers, do you have any tips? Let me know in the comments down below. So that's all I've got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, like, or subscribe. I post new videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media, and my books are available everywhere, and you can also sign up for my newsletter. And don't forget to pick up Cramming Chronicles, the third ache, which is the third in the Young Adult Urban Fantasy series. And also, don't forget to grab a ticket for Wonderland in Nottingham in July, where I'll be signing books. All the links for which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye.